Today, we're embarking on our MotoGP 24 Road to MotoGP Career in the Moto3 class. We've set the difficulty level to the new adaptive AI. Our journey begins with a wet Grand Prix in Thailand, and our initial goal is to catch up with NEPA in the championship standings, as we currently trail them by 14 points. We got off to a poor start, but by taking a tight line through the first turn, we managed to gain a lot of positions and moved up to 7th place. As we enter the second lap, we're already closing in on NEPA. We pull alongside him in the first turn, but run wide. We tuck into his slipstream, and as we approach turn 3, we brake late and dive up the inside. We maintain a clean line in the wet conditions and find ourselves in P5, with our first career podium now within sight. As we enter the 4th lap, we finally catch up with the top 4, with Alonso ahead of us. Interestingly, the game hasn't yet updated his AI to reflect his current performance, so he's not as dominant as expected, and we see Furusato from Japan leading the pack. Alonso exits the final turn slowly, and as we enter turn 1, we position our bike alongside his. We pass him but are in the wrong gear, allowing Alonso to retake the position. However, with the power of the slipstream, we manage to overtake him again and move ahead of Alonso into turn 3. We're now in P4. A few turns later, we're already closing in on Danny Holgado and Colin Vare. Vare runs wide and we make contact, but fortunately, we both stay on our bikes and avoid any penalties. We move up to P3 and set our sights on catching Holgado. It takes us more than a full lap to catch up to Holgado, but we finally manage to do so. And with a strong exit out of the first turn, we blast past him on the straight heading into turn 3. We cover the inside line to defend against a potential counterattack, but we exit turn 3 poorly, and Holgado retakes the position. However, he then runs off track, allowing us to pass him again. For the rest of the lap, he can't keep up with us, and we dive into the final turn in 2nd place, right behind Furusato. Holgado makes one final attempt, but only manages to make slight contact with our rear wheel. With that, we cross the finish line in 2nd place in our first race, impressively in the wet conditions. This result puts us ahead of NEPA in the championship standings. Our second race in our road to MotoGP is in Malaysia, and once again, we find ourselves on a wet circuit. The game has given us the objective of finishing ahead of Munoz in this race. Additionally, we still have the goal of finishing ahead of NEPA in the championship standings. Achieving this goal will heavily influence our offer for a seat in the next season. Fortunately, we got off to a good start in Thailand. We're off to a blistering start, and after the first 2 turns, we find ourselves already in P3, right behind Rueda and Alonso. As we enter turn 5, both Alonso and Rueda make mistakes in the wet conditions, allowing us to capitalize and gain 2 positions. We find our way to the front of the pack for the first time, taking the lead in the race. We relinquish the lead again by the end of the second lap. We struggle to exit turn 14 in the challenging conditions, carrying too little speed onto the long, straight heading into the final turn. We rejoin the battle behind Holgado and enter the third of 4 laps in second place. We dive into turn 1 side by side, but Holgado brakes too late. We maintain our line and retake the lead, while Holgado and several other riders run wide in turn 1, giving us a comfortable gap to P2. We enter the final lap with a comfortable lead of 1.7 seconds over Holgado and Furusato. However, the track is drying rapidly, and we're struggling to find the limit. Halfway through the last lap, Furusato takes second place from Holgado. Furusato won the previous race in Thailand with a large margin and is now closing in on us quickly in the final stages of the race. Once again, we struggle through the turn 13 and 14 combination. Furusato closes in to just half a second behind. We can feel his hot breath on our neck as we approach the final turn. With the pressure of our first win, there's no room for errors. We navigate the turn successfully, avoid mistakes, and secure our first win of this road to MotoGP in treacherous conditions. For our final GP of this first season, we receive a special assignment with a reward of a direct ticket to the MotoGP, similar to Jack Miller's path. To have a chance at this, we need to finish ahead of Alonso in Valencia. We start from pole position after a strong qualifying session, and finally, the race begins on a dry track. However, we're aware that rain might arrive later in the race, making it crucial to get a good start and stay at the front from the beginning. We dive into the first turn in second place, right behind Suzuki. In our battle with Suzuki, we run wide in turn 8 and see Holgado fly past us. We enter turns 10 and 11 side by side, with Ivan Ortola hot on our heels. We exit turn 11-3 abreast, and Ortola is forced to back off. Alongside Holgado, we head towards turn 12, but we decide to tuck in behind him and then make a move to pass him on the inside in the long, sweeping turn 13. In the second lap, we set our sights on Suzuki, but Holgado has other plans and aggressively pushes us wide in turn 1. feel a strong rivalry with Holgado emerging. We rejoin the battle behind him and consider a dive bomb in retaliation at turn 4, but decide to simply tuck in behind him instead. As we enter the final turn of the second lap, we notice the raindrops on the camera lens, and it's clear that the rain is starting to fall. Suzuki runs slightly wide, and Holgado seizes the opportunity to pass him on the inside as they accelerate onto the straight. Holgado is not looking to make friends and repeats his aggressive move in turn 1, this time on Suzuki. However, this presents us with an opportunity to latch onto Holgado's rear wheel in P2. As we enter the McDoohan corner, we spot our chance for revenge with a well-executed block pass. We retake the lead in an exciting race, with the rain looming on the horizon. As we enter turn 6, Holgado attempts another dive bomb, but he overshoots and makes contact with us. This incident proves costly for Holgado as he crashes out, and his aggressive move ultimately has significant consequences for him. As a result, Alonso takes advantage of the situation and wins the world title in the final race, snatching it from under Holgado's nose. Meanwhile, we're engaged in a fierce battle with a leading group of 4 riders for the top spot. We're still in the lead, but Suzuki, Veyer, and Ortola are hot on our heels. Lacking experience in the wet conditions at Valencia, we approach the final turn of the third lap with caution, braking way too early. Suzuki takes advantage and passes us, while Veyer collides with us. In the end, Veyer emerges from the turn as the winner and leads the pack onto the straight for lap 4. And then, as we dive into the first turn of lap 4 with a group of 5 riders, the red flag appears. The race is stopped due to the conditions, and our mistake in the previous turn proves costly as we finish in 4th place, just outside the podium. However, we managed to finish ahead of David Alonso, which means we've secured our ticket to the MotoGP. We're hesitant about making the right move and are faced with a choice between joining the Gas team or Trackhouse Aprilia in MotoGP, or taking a solid intermediate step in Moto2. Another year in Moto3 isn't our preferred option, so we opt for joining the speed-up Moto2 team alongside Alonso Lopez on the Boscoscuro chassis. For every rider, Moto2 is the perfect intermediate step, and it's an extremely competitive field with talented riders. It's time to show what we're capable of. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode, where we'll make our Moto2 debut.